Goldmines autograph tutorial for grade 10 mathematics for the Goldmines investigation project. Once you have downloaded autograph, you'll see that when you try and open it, you get this trial screen. Press finish, and then you're going to get a dialog box that says gives you option to choose advanced. Make sure advanced is selected and hit OK. The purpose of this tutorial is not only to show you how to create graphs, but also how to use some of the features to better communicate your findings, which will be important for criterion C, mathematical communication. The first thing you want to do once you have your graph open is enter an equation, which is this equals button with the plus. So we're going to add a new equation, and you're going to enter the equation that is from 5b in the investigation task. You're going to start with a square root symbol, and then you are going to have to include brackets in order to make it work. So like I have here, in order to square x, you're going to have to do that. And then another square root. And again, square this quantity. And then hit OK. And you'll notice that nothing comes up. And that's because the graph is too zoomed in right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the zoom out button over here, and we are going to zoom out twice, and we can see that we have our graph. We want to bring our origin so it's in the left-hand corner, because to the left-hand side of the x-axis we have negative distance values, and we're not really concerned with that right now. Now I'm going to show you how to edit your axes to make the graph look good and show what you want. So we're going to go to axes up at top, and we're going to go edit axes. The first thing we're going to do is, you can see that we've got all this blank space to the right. It doesn't go past 20, at least this part of the graph doesn't. So I'm going to make the x maximum at 20. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck these boxes so that I can adjust the number scale on the axes from every 10 to every 5. And the pips, which is the grid marks, I'm going to do it every 1 so we can see nice and clearly what's going on. The next thing is I'm going to go to labels, and you can see that it's just given the label Y and then X underneath this dialog box here. We're going to change the label names from X to something else. And of course, this is not what you will be naming your axes. But this is an example of how to do it. Now we're going to adjust the appearance of the axes labels to make them bigger, so they're more visible. And you can hit the font size, and let's try and make it bold. And then we're going to also edit the axes numbers and make those bigger so they're easier to see. And then we should be good to go. That should change things a little bit here. See, it only goes up to 20. And we've got our axes labels. You have to label your axes for this project. We also have a graph. And the next thing we're going to do is we are going to identify the minimum point on this graph, because one of the goals of this is to investigate minimum distance and therefore minimum cost to the gold mine company. So the way you do that is you have to be in the arrow selection, and you can click on this so that it turns black, and then you can right click or control click, and you get this menu, and you want to go to solve f apostrophe x equals 0. And that will find the minimum point for us. And you can see it's right at 5 and then just above 11, 11.31. That's red out down here, but you want to bring out the coordinates of that point for the purpose of your investigation. And the way you do that is you go to View and you can check Status Bar. And you notice that both the equation and the equation solver appear. Now that's because both of these are highlighted. Now if I click off of them, both of them disappear. But if I click just on the point, then I get just the point. So I'm going to adjust that. And I'm going to bring this status box down here so that it's easily seen what the coordinates of that point are. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a text box here. And I'm going to put something in it. Now, the reason for adding this text box is so that you can bring out anything about the graph that you want to and communicate it more clearly. Now, I'm just saying simply that this is a point. However, you might want to make a comment about that point using the text box. You can also use the scribble tool and draw an arrow. And you notice that the status box coordinate went away. So let's go up here and click on that again. And we have this showing and we have this showing. Now, the next thing we're going to do is copy this so that we can put it into a Word document. Now, for PCs and I think some other Apple computers, the method would be this. You go down from Page to Copy Graph, Metafile, and then you select that, and then you would go into your Word document and you'd go paste, or Apple V for paste. However, that's not working with mine for some reason, so I have an alternate method, and that is to go Page and Save Graph. And if we save that to the desktop, it will appear over here. And then what I can do is I can take the graph and I can drag it into my document. Now, a problem came up here, and that is that this axis label got cut off, and we definitely don't want that. What we're going to do is we're going to insert a text box in Word. And we're going to use that. Now, if I drag this over, it's going to go right over the picture or move it around. So the first thing I have to do is I have to control-click on the picture, and I have to go to Format, Picture. And if I go to Layout, I can go Behind Text. And then OK. And then I can take this text box, and I can drag it right here. And you can see that it overlaps with the text behind it and makes it illegible. So the way to deal with that is Control-click, and I'm going to format this shape, and I'm going to go to Fill, and I'm going to give it a nice white fill. Okay, and that does not seem to be working. Let me try that again. Oh, it's because the transparency is at 100%. So I'm going to turn the transparency down, and then if I move this here, and that covers that up nicely, and it's very legible. You may want to make another one for this axis to be consistent, but the main thing is that you have your axes labeled, because it's very important to show understanding what these variables mean in the context of this problem. Okay, that ends this tutorial. Your job now is to, using the instruction in this tutorial, to create your own graph, just like I have done here, and email it to me to show that you have learned these skills. So go ahead and do that right away. All right, thanks, and I'll see you in class soon.